Hey guys, welcome back for this Webpack2 tutorial. In this particular tutorial, we are going to see about how are we going to create multiple templates of HTML by using Webpack, and how can we just, you know, clean the distribution folder each and every time the production build is triggered from Webpack. So this is all what we are going to achieve. Uh, so moving ahead, what we are going to do is, so if you can see, there's an HTML, right? There's a, if I just go ahead and just, you know I do npm run prod, I can, if at all I am running Webpack on in prod mode. So you can see a distribution is created over here, and index.html is also created inside it. What if I want this particular index.html to be in the root folder? What I have to really do for that? For that particular thing, what I have to do is I have to open my webpack.config, right? And in this particular thing, in my HTML plugin, what I have to again do over here is I'm just going to include one thing that is nothing but one property called file name, and my file name is going to be nothing but a relative path, and that should be nothing but like this is nothing but my webpack config file. So I'm going to just create, an index.html, like index.html into my source, right, into my root folder, not source. I'm really sorry for that. So what I'm going to do is I have just, you know created this particular, I've added this particular configuration, and now I'm just going to run prod. I'm going to run my webpack in prod mode. So I have done that. Let us see what happens. Yeah, so you can see now there's an index.html which is created on the root, and that is something which we really wanted. So let us see what has happened in the distribution. So still there is index.html which is not really going to be used, is stale file which is present inside this folder. So what would be the thought if, like, whenever a production build is run, we are going to, clean everything inside this folder, and everything, and the rest of the files which are created on the fly by the webpack is going to be uh, dumped into distribution. Before doing that, it should clean and delete every file which is there inside the distribution folder. That is something which you're going to achieve. Just to tell you, in the index.html, even the source is generated properly. You don't have to do anything. Webpack is going to take care of that. It is in the root. It is in the root folder, and you can see it is accessing dist and the bundle which is created inside it. So you really don't have to care about how to link the bundles which are created dynamically by Webpack. It is handled by Webpack itself. So just to clean everything, the topic which I said, I want to clean everything inside my dist folder whenever my production build is triggered. I'm going to use, you know, I'm going to use um, npm package called rimraf, and let us first install it. I'm just going to say npm install rimraf, and I'm going to save into my dependencies. Okay, now once it is done, let us just wait for it to get done. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to open my package.json, and I'm going to add, you know a script called clean. So the now clean is going to be nothing but cleaning everything inside my dist folder. So I'm going to use rimraf over here. And how am I going to write that is nothing but rimraf, right, is, yeah, it is the way. And I'm going to tell it what all I have to delete, what I have to clean. So inside this, everything, this is how it looks. And whenever a prod build run, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first run my clean command. So what I'm going to do is npm run clean and post that, and the two ampersand. I'm going to do the regular thing which I've been doing. I'm going to run my webpack in the production mode, and let us just see what happens. I just clear this thing off from here, and I'm going to just run on prod. You can just have a close look at this particular distribution folder. I'll, so I'll just zoom it for you guys so you can see there is a distribution folder, and I'm going to just hit enter over here. Let's see what happens. Somehow rimraf is not taken care. Let me just go into my package.json. Okay. I'll just check if at all it has got installed. Yes, rimraf is there. Yes, so it was not saved somehow. I'll just clear the things off over here, and I'm going to run it again into prod mode. Let me see. Yes, so now everything is cleaned. If you can see over here, this particular dist folder, everything is cleaned, and then the file is put inside this particular app bundle, and that is actually what I wanted. So now you can see my index.html is in my root folder and not into a dist, and if at all it was existing into dist, everything is cleaned by rimraf. So this is how it makes sense for us, right? And okay, so just for the sake of just for the sake of, you can say, I'll just demonstration ahead, I'll just remove this particular minify, and I'm just going to comment my file name so that everything is going to be, even my HTML is good. I'll just is going to be now generated into my dist folder itself. So I'll just go ahead and delete this particular index.html, and I'll say delete, and I'll just go to trash. And let me just check after running prod if at all I'm getting index.html over here. So now the dist is completely cleared, and then it should have the index.html inside it. So this is what I really wanted. Now you can see I've just removed my minification, and app.bundle is directly accessed inside this particular relative path. So that is really great. I'm just clear the things off over here. So now what we're going to do is, now we're going to create multiple templates of index.html over here. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to do is, I'm just going to copy this particular configuration. You can see I'm just going to go ahead this, and I'm going to put a comma over here. I'm going to just copy. I'll just remove this thing off. I'll say this should be nothing but not project, but it should be something called contact. And the file name, yes, everything looks good. My template is also index.ejs, and now my file name should be actually nothing but contact.html. So that means, so my output, so now at this particular time, the file name is going to be accessed inside my dist folder, which is given into my output, and it is nothing but this. So now when I run the webpack, it will also create contact.html using the same you know embedded JS file which is there into my source. Let me see what happens first. So I'll just go ahead and I'll just say npm run prod. Let me see what happens. So it will just clear everything. I'll just open this particular thing. Now you can see there is nothing but contact.html which is there going to be present over here. Just just for the sake of just for the sake of implementing or demonstrating this, I'm going to run this particular command, this particular thing, whatever I'm creating, into the dev mode. So I'll just go ahead and say nothing but dev. So it'll just kick off my dev server and it'll open the project over here. And then inside this particular thing, I can just go and say contact.html. So even contact.html is nothing, it is nothing but the same thing. So if I just go and inspect, to be really frank, if I just see the element inside my body, it is nothing but the same bundle which is getting created. Even if you can see, the contact.html is different, but even the title is of the same template which we are using. The reason being, we are using the same template to create both the same index.ejs template to create the distribution contact.html as well as index.html. How you can see that? You can see it over here. The template which is accessing is nothing but index.ejs, and by using this particular reference, I'm creating contact.html. So now moving ahead, what we are going to do is we're going to create one more file over here. Maybe I will just create one more embedded JS file or an HTML file. If you're not comfortable with this, I'll just go and say nothing but contact.ejs, right? So now it is nothing but, and I'm going to just copy everything and I'm going to paste everything over here, and now I'm just going to say nothing but contact, and over here I'm just going to remove this particular root, and I'm going to say, hey, I am contact template. This look good for me, and now I'm just going to quit my job and I'm going to just run the dev mode webpack again. Let us see what happens over here. I'll just close this thing off. So hello world is there written, and my contact.html. Oh my god. So let us be, somehow things have not worked great for me. Okay, the reason being, in my webpack config, I'm still accessing index.js. Rather than that, we have to just go there and say that we have to do something called contact.js, right? And if I just quit the job and run my dev mode again, so my index.js would be having hello world, and my contact.html is going to say, hey, I am nothing but contact template. But even here, if you can just go ahead and inspect the body tag over here, it is also accessing the same bundle which is there in the index.html. So if I just do over here, even in my body, it is nothing but the same bundle. So we have to also create a different, you know, JS files as well. So moving ahead, what I am going to do over here is, before doing that, just a small change I would like to give over here is, inside my index.js and contact.ejs, I can also load this particular title dynamically. And how am I going to do that is nothing but, I'll just open the stuff out. Just give me a minute. I'll have to. So this is the way. So over here, if you can see, I'm just creating my project and my contact as dynamic. That is cool for us, but there's one more concept which I would like to make you guys understand, that you can also use HTML plugin of Webpack to achieve this particular dynamically. And how am I going to do that is nothing but by using a quote, and that would be much more helpful. Let me just open my code online, and that will help me to do that, because the syntax of it is a bit confusing. I'll just go into my yes index.js. So if you can, I'll just copy my code and I'll just put it over here. You can see over here what I'm going to tell is HTML Webpack plugin option dot title. The same thing also if we can go ahead into this particular contact.js, I'll just paste it. So now this particular thing is going to be replaced by nothing but this particular title which is there into contact.js. To just show it properly, what I'm going to do is I'm again going to run into npm run dev and let us see what happens. So if you can see over here in for index.js the title would be project, and for contact it should be nothing but contact. So it is getting generated dynamically, so it is running great. And moving ahead, what we are going to do is we are going to also create a different JS file for contact, and it was going to be a JS file, and inside which I'm just going to write console.log, and I will just say I am from contact template, and it looks good for me. And then moving over here, I can just right. So now somehow I have to tell that my entry is not going to be app.js every time. Now it is going to be configurable. So if I can just go into my webpack.config and I'm just going to change this particular thing to something called as something like this. I'm just copying and pasting the code, copy pasting the code just to save the time. And you can see now my entry is going to be app and my entry is going to be contact. There are two different entries for the app to get bootstrapped. At the same time, a file name is not going to be always app.bundle. It is going to be nothing but it'll replace this name. If at all it is for app, it will be app.bundle.js, and if it is for contact, it's going to be contact.bundle.js. And then moving ahead, it would be great. Yeah, so now this is going to be cool, and now I'm just going to stop my server over here and again run it into dev, and let's see what happens. Okay, so over here I'll just open my console if it's all right. So if you can just see over here, even in index.js my contact.template is getting loaded. So let me just go ahead and open my contact. And so this particular thing is working fine, but when because the reason why I'm getting my console.log properly over here, just ignore this particular error for now. But if you can see over here, even in index.html my contact template is getting loaded, and that should not really happen. So what I have to do is I have to just go to you know to my configuration, and I'm just going to tell that for my index, I'm just going to exclude the chunk for nothing but contact, and for my for my contact I'm going to include the chunk of contact. So now this would, whenever the index.js is loaded, this will exclude contact, and while contact is loaded, it'll include this particular contact dot bundle. So I'll just remove this stuff off and I'll again run my dev server, and this will automatically take me to the browser. It takes a bit of time at times. Let me see. So there are no errors. This should work really fine for me. I don't know why it is taking. Okay, yeah. So it is getting loaded, and you can see console.log. There's nothing over here, so it is not getting loaded. So for contact.html, now it is having this particular thing getting loaded. But if at all I just remove this particular thing, and if I load index.html, it is not getting loaded. So just to prove this, even in my network, you can see for index.html it is loading app.bundle.js. It is the same configuration which we did over here by dynamically, getting the name from the entry to the output, the name of the files. And when I go to my contact, you can see it loads contact.bundle.js. So now this is completely optimized, and this is it, guys. There is nothing else to be demonstrated over here. So if at all you find this particular video helpful, please like, share and comment, and hope to see you again. Thanks a lot.